Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Thank you very much for tuning in today. I appreciate you tuning in today. I have a individual who's going to help us transform into something else, hopefully, right? You know, he is a keynote speaker. He is a thought leader in digital strategy, boasts over 3 decades of experience in online development. He is the author of Customer Transformation, which is what we'll dive into today. And he provides a roadmap to customer alignment and business value, articulating a transformative 7-stage strategy. He focuses on aligning with customers' evolving needs as they see things or applications across various industries, including financial, healthcare, retail, and the nonprofit sectors. He shares his insights on his own personal show. I don't want to say his name. You'll get to that in a moment, but he has the show is named after him, and he helps businesses worldwide accelerate their digital potential. I thank y'all for tuning in today. I have none other than this powerhouse, Chris Hood. Chris, thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Great intro.
Cool. So as I had mentioned, talking about customer transformation, you know, and a lot of times we don't understand how important our customer really is and who our customer is. But what is customer transformation?
Yeah, those are 2 very important things. Who is your customer? What are their needs? And customer transformation is basically the understanding that your customers are constantly evolving. They're constantly transforming. And you have to understand that transformation as it's happening so that you can deliver to them, meet their needs, provide products and services that are going to solve their problems. And that process is continuous. We as consumers, you're a consumer, I'm a consumer. We are all consumers. We go out, we go to the grocery store, we go fill up our car with gas, we go buy new cars, whatever it might be. We are the consumer in those moments, and our individual needs are constantly evolving. And so as you recognize that, you as business leaders must also recognize that your business is going to have to continuously evolve to keep up with the changing demands that we all have.
So how will we even know who is our customer base to begin with? How will we find out that information?
Well, I hate to say it in this way, but that's probably the first question you should be asking before you start a business. And it's really interesting because I do think there are a lot of people out there that come up with ideas. Like, I have a great idea, I'm going to go do it. Or I really want to go into this type of business, whatever it might be. But you have to actually start with your customer. Everything that you will ever do in business starts with your customer. And it really boils down to a very simple term or phrase or philosophy, however you want to call this. You do not have a business without customers. So the recognition of what the customer needs has to be at the starting point. And I'll give you an example of this. Oftentimes we have these ideas or we see other businesses operating. They have all started with, well, wow, I really wish I had this product to solve this problem. There's your customer base. Like, find other people who want to solve the same problem. We'll overly simplify it, a light bulb, right? You go into the room and you turn on your light. I go into my room and it's dark. Wow, maybe I wish I had something that allowed me to see in this dark room. Oh, a light bulb. Great. Your customer base are people who want to see in their dark rooms, right? So you foundationally have to start there. You have to understand who your customer is, what their problem is, how are you going to solve that? Then figure out what the product and service and everything else after that.
So we're going to use your analogy of the light bulb, right? you would think that that industry, that technology is oversaturated. And a lot of times we're not innovative enough to change, just something simple to make it more unique for us. So how would you encourage someone to stay in that space if that's what they want to do? How would you encourage them to stay in that space and understand, hey, how can I bring those customers to me?
Yeah, the light bulb industry might not be a good example for that, but because you're right, it's saturated. There's a lot of big players out there. But it's amazing if you've ever gone to Home Depot or Lowe's and walked down the light bulb aisle, there's hundreds of different types of light bulbs. So clearly there are people who are trying to shake up the industry and create new ideas, especially as we get into the smart bulbs in color and LEDs and trying to create really personalized experiences with lights. So it's happening. But if we take the premise of how do you continuously evolve and how do you innovate, whatever it might be, a lot of it starts with research because you're going to have to research what consumers are demanding. And so most likely, even in those spaces, they're demanding something different than what they get. Prime example of this is Uber. We had Uber. It was called taxi services. And in most cities, there's still taxis. But through a little research and the right questions, we discovered that there were clear frustrations with how you got a taxi, what the rates and pricing was of the taxi, of familiarity with the city, things like that, which Uber was then able to solve. So it started, though, with research. It started with, let's reevaluate what customers want in that industry. We go back to light bulbs, we might find out that actually people prefer living in the dark. And so maybe they don't need a light bulb and, we come up with something else. But again, you've got to ask the questions. You've got to still go back to the consumers. You're using this product. What do you like about this product? What don't you like about this product? What would you change if you could about this product? And that process of continually doing research and asking the questions will help you come up with new ideas that will then introduce the opportunity for disruption and innovation in different industries.
So sometimes when we're trying to be innovative, we get a little timid or a little too nervous, and we might pull back. So how would you encourage someone to get out of that shell, just to go try it, to listen to what the customer wants or needs, and to come out of our shell to even just try it? Because sometimes we're scared of failure too.
Yeah, it's a good point, because I think even in larger businesses, the biggest, baddest phrase that anybody says is, well, we've always done things this way. Right? And if you have that mentality, like, well, we can't change, we've always done things this way, then you're never going to innovate and you're never going to capture those opportunities to grow or evolve with your consumers. As new businesses, and especially entrepreneurs, you might have a fear of, hey, I want to become an entrepreneur, but I'm a little scared that, there's other people out there that can do it better. Well, that's a personal thing that you're going to have to look at. And I agree with you. You can start small. You can just try something very simple, get it out there and see how it does, figure it out, and then evolve. And even in small businesses, smaller organizations have a much better time adjusting to market trends. But the recommendation should always be, you don't have to do everything. Start small, see if it works, find out what worked, what didn't work, make adjustments, iterate on it. If every week you made a very small change, over time, you would have a new innovative product. And that's how you got to get into that mindset of, how do I be more agile? How do I make smaller changes more frequently, as opposed to, yeah, let's go all in.
So as I'm listening to you, right, you're suggesting for someone to build a culture of innovation, right? So how else could someone build a culture of innovation? Again, because we're nervous in a lot of cases. So how would you encourage someone to do that?
Yeah. So a culture of innovation is broken down into a couple of different facets.
Mm-hmm.
There is what we've just talked about, the willingness to do small incremental adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of, hey, let's try this is okay. And you can try it for little to no budget most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is part of that culture. The other side of this is, who do you get involved with that innovation?
Mm.
And so we talk often about getting a diverse perspective. It's also about recognizing that if you've got a company of 10 people, all 10 people in that company should be responsible for innovation. You should be listening to ideas no matter who they're from. If you've hired, say, a janitor to come in and clean your office,
Mm-hmm.
ask the janitor their opinions, right? And too often, I think we see businesses, especially leaders, who feel like, well, I'm the owner of the company, I'm the CEO, it's my ideas,
Right.
I'm going to maintain my ideas. I don't really care what anybody else thinks.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really care what the people who work for me think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell them what to do. That is definitely the wrong type of culture. You will never innovate fully if you restrict this to certain people
Mm-hmm.
or even certain teams. You have to recognize that the true culture of innovation includes everyone in that organization. It could be as simple as, we have a suggestion box. And in that suggestion box, sure, we're going to get, I really don't like working with Maurice.
Right.
But you're also going to get, man, I wish if we had blah, 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 blah,
Mm-hmm.
we would be more successful. There's your ideas.
So, as I'm listening to you, I just want to make sure we're clear. You're encouraging for us to value our quote unquote customers, because sometimes our customers are also our employees. Sometimes we mistake who our true customers are. So how do we continue on that space of valuing every person? Because sometimes we don't value the janitor, right? We don't value the person that's picking up the trash outside. We don't value those individuals. So how do we continue on that space of valuing really who our customers really are?
Yeah. And you said a couple of really great things in here. One, your employees are your customers. I will add, your employees should be your customers. Like, if you have a team of 10 people again, and 8 of them are not buying your own product, there's a bigger problem. But there's also, because in theory, you are one of our customers, then I should be able to ask you, well, what do you think about the checkout process? What do you think about the color options? What do you think about how this is being used? Their direct employees that are sitting there should be asked that, as well as you should also be asking your customers, because it goes full circle. As we started off saying, you've got to continuously do that research. You have to continuously ask your customers, what's working, what's not working, what's your opinion? Do you like this? Do you not like this? And take that feedback and apply it to improving your products and services. And then when we get to the other people, like you said, how do we get that same feedback from what we would say are not our customers? If our employees are our customers and our customers are our customers, and there's other people that are around us that we engage with, maybe they're partners, maybe they're third party, we should still be asking them. Why would you ever want to not ask somebody how you're doing or how things could be better? Ask everyone. Ask as many people as you possibly can, because if you target those non-customers, they potentially become your customers.
Right.
Or if nothing else, they're going to help you grow your community and grow the awareness of your business to help you grow.
So when you're talking about this feedback loop, right, this idea of receiving the feedback, sometimes we don't want to hear where we're failing. We don't want to hear that. that discourages us. And now we're saying, hey, you know what? That's a moment for us to retreat back into what we're comfortable with. So how would you encourage someone to implement something of that feedback loop that might not be so appealing to you in your reviews or whatever it might be?
Get over it. Yeah, I mean, look, you're in business. It goes back to what I said. Without customers, you don't have a business.
Mm-hmm.
So would you rather hear 10 complaints about your business that generates more customers,
Mm-hmm.
or ignore those 10 complaints about your business and then they go away and then you don't have customers? Right? This is a business.
Mm-hmm.
This is not about feeling good about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we hope that you can feel good about yourself. Absolutely.
Right.
But as a business owner, you have to recognize that bad feedback should be celebrated. It is a good thing because it gives you the opportunity to make change. If you choose to ignore it, you will most likely go out of business.
So as people are transitioning, you know, because right now, and I know one of your focal points is the digital space, right? So how would someone utilize the digital space to get that feedback or whatever it might be?
Well, there's a lot of ways that we can look at feedback in the digital space.
Mm-hmm.
You've got email. Somebody can just simply email you.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bad experience. They might even use social media.
Mm-hmm.
And social media is flooded now with opinions. So, so go read the opinions that people have about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you've got a business and you got a bunch of people on social media saying, yeah, I use their products, it sucked, like I would never use them again.
Mm-hmm.
That's good feedback.
Right.
You want to go and listen to that. Of course, any type of reviews. So there's plenty of review sites, especially on Google, as an example. Read the reviews, respond to the reviews, maintain and try to fix that relationship. All of that is going to help you better understand what your customers want, expect, need, and then how you're going to be able to fix it. Surveys, emails, social media, reviews, anything in that digital space is fair game.
So I brought that up because I know a few people that really would like to control the type of information that's being put out about them. You know, from hey, their workspace, you know, they have some really negative comments about them, and they don't want to use that information on how to grow in dealing with their employees. Like I said, I mentioned about being their customer, you know, their actual customer, and even their community being their customer. You know, so that's why I asked that type of question because sometimes people don't understand how important that really is in order for them to grow.
Well, this is also another reflection point of view, right? I'm sure, and I've read them out there. There are companies, especially new startups. You go and you hire a couple of employees. You potentially don't treat them right because it's a startup. They leave your business. Then they go and they complain, like, I worked there for 2 weeks and the owner of the business was awful for whatever the reasons. And again, what we typically do is look at that and say, I don't want that out there, but it also could be true.
Right.
And so you've got to take that step back and say, wow, did I really treat this person in that way? Did I really hire them and have that negative impact? That is on your business. It is then on you to correct. And I would tackle those things straight on. You could definitely try to get it to be removed, but you could also respond to it and say, I'm sorry. You know, I'm really sorry that that's how you feel. I'm going to take your feedback in your public post here, and I'm going to correct things within my organization. I'm going to make a change. But this takes not only a lot of skill, this takes the willingness to admit that you're the one to blame. You are the CEO. You are the leader. You are the owner. You are ultimately the one to blame for this.
Right.
And
Right.
too often, we just don't want to take that responsibility. We just want to get rid of it and take it off the internet and ignore it.
Yes. I know a few people just like that. And so I think part of that you cover in your book, Customer Transformation, talk about, harnessing the power of empathy, innovation, things like that. I think that's one of the things that we lose track of is our actual feelings. Yeah, I mean, innovation is one thing or whatever else, but showing empathy, sympathy, whatever it might be, just general care as a human being. I think those are some of the things that we lose. So what made you consider that as you put your book together?
Well, the entire world is fueled by how we feel, mostly, right? Empathy is the recognition that we want to better understand who our customer is and then be able to deliver to facilitate, again, whatever their needs are. And the only way you're going to be able to do that, again, it's fairly cliche, but it's the concept of I'm going to walk in your shoes. If we switch places for a day, and I was you for a day and you were me for a day, we would see a completely different world.
Right.
That's the reality.
Right.
And that's the case for any two individuals. So to walk in your shoes and to understand the challenges and the problems that you were faced with, and then to be able to translate those into a business product or service is the foundation of customer empathy. It's the recognition that everyone is different, but the reason that you're coming to me for business is because I recognize who you are and I can serve who you are. If you can't do that, then again, you don't have a business or you have a bad business, because we also know those feelings of, well, you just treat me like a number. Well, yeah, I can remove the human element of this, assign you a customer identifier of some sort and say, customer 101.
Right. You're right.
I don't know who you are. I don't really care who you are. I don't know what your needs and problems are. I don't know what your even personal aspirations are. I just know you as 101.
Yeah.
And then I try to serve you. And it often doesn't work because we, again, as consumers, when we engage with those companies, we don't like the experience.
Wow, Chris, I appreciate it, man. You've offered a lot of information. I mentioned your book. Where can they find your book?
Well, you can find it on my website. So you can go to chrishood.com and there it is. And I'd be happy to do an autographed copy for you if you want to buy it on my website. It's also obviously on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and multitudes of other book selling platforms. So feel free, find it wherever you want to buy your books.
And then also, I had mentioned that you have a show. What's the name of your show?
Yeah, my show is the Chris Hood Digital Show. So as you said, my name's in the title. But yeah, it's a show dedicated to some of these similar topics, talking about digital trends and innovation and how do you recognize who your consumer is and all of the fun stuff that I also outline in my book.
Chris, I appreciate you coming on today. You've been great, man. I appreciate all the information you provided today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
And so before I let you go, my famous question I ask everybody, my would you rather question, right? Would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
Oh, wow. That's a very interesting question. Because in theory, 3 doors would give you 3 options and a fork in the road would only give you 2 options. So you could maximize that. But I'm big on journeys. I love the 2 roads. I would take the fork in the road and flip a coin to go left or right.
Really? Okay. That's cool. I appreciate you, Chris, for coming on.
Thank you so much.
And continue to listen to That Will Never Work podcast. I will talk to you later.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?